Hi, my name is Dimitri and welcome back to my channel. As you can see, I have I have 9 facial piercings, including my tongue piercing. So I get a lot of questions about all my piercings, a lot. I've gotten these over the course of time, but I have had what people consider to be a lot of facial piercings for at least 5 years now. So over the years, obviously, like I said, people ask questions, and I compiled the questions that I get asked the most frequently. I get asked a lot about how healing is, and every piercing heals differently and has a different time frame of when they'll heal. Surprisingly enough, I don't have a ton of ear piercings. My ears are stretched, and then I have this little guy. What is this thing called? Tragus. I have my tragus pierced. I have my ears stretched, and I used to have an industrial, which I'll get into later. But I don't have a ton of ear piercings. And ear piercings take a very, very long time to heal because they're all cartilage. Unless you're getting like your second or third lobes done, they're all cartilage piercings. And the cartilage piercings take a very long time to heal. When I had my industrial done, I believe they told me it would take up to a year to fully and completely heal. Mine healed, but it healed very poorly, which is why I took it out. But I wouldn't have considered my industrial to have been healed. I think it took like a year and a half. It takes a very long time. But facial piercings don't take nearly as long. At the very minimum, a facial piercing takes about 3 months to heal. Some take faster, some take slower. It also depends on your own body because everyone's different. I heal piercings very quickly, but that's not true for everyone. And just because a piercing no longer hurts and looks fine and you can touch it without it hurting does not mean that it's healed, which is a very common misconception. For example, all of my piercings healed very easily. I didn't have problems with any of them, God bless, except for my nostrils. I got my nostrils done independently of each other. I have both sides done, but I got them done, I think, like a year apart or a year and a half apart. And both times, it had been like 2 months, and I decided I was going to change them from studs to rings. And both times they got infected because they weren't ready yet. But I figured it had been 2 months, it had been 2 months. They don't hurt, they look fine, I can touch them, let's try and change them, and they both got infected. I should have waited much, much longer. Nostrils, your nose is cartilage. Nostrils are a cartilage piercing. I should have waited way longer than 2 months to change them, and they got infected because I got my little grubby little fingers up in there. But other than that, healing has been totally fine. My snake bites were a little frustrating to heal because, like any piercing, they give you the longer bars in case of swelling, and I wasn't used to having them in my mouth, so when I talked, or when I ate especially, see, these are just a post that go through the back, and then they have a flat back on the inside of my mouth. They were kind of sticking into my mouth because of the long bar, and my bottom teeth would get hooked on, like, I would talk and move my bottom jaw, and the back of the post would hook onto my bottom teeth, and they would pull, and they're a fresh piercing, so I'd be like, oh, that really hurts. I was also incredibly paranoid. My glasses block it, but I have my bridge pierced, and I have seen so many terrible bridge piercings. It is a piercing with a very high rejection rate, which means you can do everything right. You can take care of your bridge piercing perfectly. You could have it done by a professional, and there's nothing wrong with the way it was pierced. You could do everything right, and it could still reject. And I got really paranoid that my bridge piercing was going to reject and that healing was going to be terrible because I had just seen so many awful bridge piercings. And it's fine. It healed hello? I just heard a weird noise upstairs. It healed very quickly. It has given me no problems whatsoever. I don't know. Hello, this is an editor's note. I somehow forgot to mention how impossibly annoying it is to heal a tongue piercing. My tongue swelled, and for the first couple of days, for the first 2 or 3 days, I had such a strong lisp that no one had any idea what I was saying. No one could understand what I was saying when I talked. I was trying to tell my mom something in the car the day after, and she was like, I don't know what you're saying right now, I'm so sorry. And that lasted, the no one understanding what I could say, terrible swelling lasted like 2 or 3 days, and then for 2 weeks, it was just really annoying and swollen, and then I lost the lisp after a month, I think. So healing the tongue piercing was very, very annoying. And also, they give you a very, very, very long bar because of how much your tongue can swell up. Like, mine swelled a normal amount. Some people's, like, completely balloon. And that's normal. That's just how much it swells. But a tongue piercing is very susceptible to swelling. But then you have this long bar once the swelling goes down. There's like a period of time where your swelling has gone down, but you can't change the bar yet. So then you just have this very long bar in your mouth. So healing a tongue is super annoying, but it's also very fast. Like after a month, not even, after like 3 weeks, it was completely normal. So I forgot to add that in. People ask me, how much do they hurt? If they hurt, and which one was the most painful. So they do hurt. It is a needle going through your skin. But the pain is so fast that even my most painful piercing is just like, oh, it's over now. I would take the worst piercing pain over the least painful tattoo any day. It's just so fast. It's hard to describe to people the pain because if you've never had a piercing, it's kind of hard to explain what it feels like. Same thing with a tattoo. It's really hard to explain what a tattoo feels like to someone who's never had one. I also am a particularly terrible person to ask about how much piercings hurt because while I think I have a very low pain tolerance for the rest of my body, but for my head, I have an incredibly high pain tolerance, like very much above average. I can tolerate a lot of pain in my head and in my face. For example, I had 4 root canals and 5 crowns and crown preps done in one appointment. It was a 6-hour dentist appointment. I literally had 4 root canals done at once and the crown prep. And at the end, they kept asking me if I wanted to take a break, if I needed anything, and I didn't. I took one break because I had to go to the bathroom, not because I was in pain. It truly was painless for me. Crown prep hurt, but the root canal, I could feel them touching me, but there was no pain. And they told me at the end that in the history of their office, they had never had a patient sit through that level of work without wanting to take a break because of the pain. Like, ever. They'd never had someone sit through that much work before. I'm not trying to, brag about my pain tolerance. I'm just trying to say, I am not a good person to ask as far as pain goes in the head region because I could put up with a lot. Everyone's pain tolerance is different. When I got my tongue pierced, everyone who I knew who had their tongue pierced told me it was virtually painless, it was extremely easy, and to me, that was my most painful piercing. Also, the healing is incredibly annoying. Are they annoying? A lot of people think that getting a facial piercing will change, everything. It'll change the way they do things. Especially getting nostril piercings and blowing your nose. It doesn't really change anything. You blow your nose the exact same way. They're only annoying when they're healing because you will, hit them against something and you're like, oh, ow. But other than that, no, they're not annoying. The piercings I have, anyways, are not annoying. I have heard tons of people say that nipple piercings are very annoying and that belly button piercings are very annoying. I know a ton of people who have both or either or whatever, and all of those people are like, Yeah, I love them, but very, very, very annoying. They get caught on everything. But I've never found any of my piercings to be annoying. Are you afraid that you'll swallow your tongue piercing ball? I already have. Twice. I got my tongue pierced. It was a metal bar. I had heard all this stuff about how tongue piercings will chip your teeth, which, in retrospect, doesn't make any sense to me. And in my tongue piercing placement, it's way too far back to touch my teeth at all. I have to, on purpose, like, stick my tongue out and, like, try and find my tongue piercing with my teeth. It's not, when I talk or when I eat, it does not touch my teeth. It's too far away from them to touch them, never mind, like, hit them enough to break them. But, I don't know, I got this piercing a long time ago, and once I could, I changed the metal bar to, one that had plastic balls, and the plastic balls twice from this same set of tongue piercing jewelry unraveled themselves, and I swallowed the plastic ball twice. Whatever, it'll work its way through. But I switched to a different kind of jewelry, and that has not happened to me since. It was like that specific jewelry that I had bought was like cheap and stupid and would come untwisted in my mouth. But if you are really paranoid about it, it never hurts to re-tighten your piercings all the time. I do it with my lip piercings all the time because I play with them a lot, so they come loose. My lip piercing balls fall off more than any other piercing ball. I don't have any of the rest of them fall out ever. I've accidentally pulled out my nose piercing a couple times, which doesn't hurt, it's just annoying. But my lip piercing balls unscrew a lot. Have any of your piercings ever rejected? Rejection is when your body says no thank you and pushes the piercing out. And this can happen because the piercing wasn't pierced well or right. It can happen due to improper jewelry or improper care, or it can just happen. And you see rejection a lot with surface piercings, which the bridge piercing is a surface piercing, and my eyebrows are also surface piercings. And a surface piercing is a piercing that doesn't necessarily go through something, if that makes sense. Like, my lip piercings go through to the other side, and my nostrils go through to the other side. These are just like through skin, therefore making them a surface piercing. Surface piercings have a pretty good rejection rate. Hello, editor's note. I would like to rephrase the way that I said that. I said that surface piercings have a pretty good rejection rate. That is not what I meant. I meant that they do have a higher rejection rate than other normal piercings. I shouldn't have said they have a pretty good rejection rate, though. There's just a higher chance that they would reject compared to a regular piercing, if that makes sense. I didn't like the way that I said that. It seemed too alarmist, you know what I mean? I don't know. I'm not paranoid that either of these are going to reject, just because I've had one of these eyebrow piercings I got 5.5 years ago, and the other one I got 3 years ago. So they are in there and they are good. My bridge piercing is almost a year old, and it hasn't moved or done anything. It's totally fine in there, which you can have a bridge piercing for years, and then one day it'll decide it needs to get out of your face. I'm praying and hoping that won't happen. I don't think that'll happen to me, but you never know. I did retire my industrial piercing, not because it rejected, but because industrial piercings are very hard to heal. It is basically 2 piercings that are supposed to line up, and you have the one piece of jewelry in them. It's really hard to get them right, and I don't know. I think mine was a combination of, like, I didn't take care of it very well. I never downsized the bar because I just didn't think of it. I don't know. I didn't take care of it very well. There's a lot of factors, but mine, like, migrated in, so it would, like, your industrial piercing shouldn't be touching the shell of your ear, and mine, like, migrated backwards, so it was a little bit. And then I had a lot of built up scar tissue around the outside where the piercing, like, exited on both outside parts of my ear. So one day I was like, that's enough. Like, this looks terrible. It's never gonna get better. So I took it out. The scar tissue has mostly healed. I have 2 very small bumps on either side where the piercing was. That didn't reject necessarily, it just migrated and healed poorly, so I took it out. But other than that, I'm not afraid that my piercings will reject. I think that's pretty much it. I mean, I've had a ton of questions asked about my piercings over time. Those are just the main ones that have been asked multiple times. So I hope this was helpful to someone. If you have any more questions, comment them, and I think if I get enough, I will make like a Q&A style for more specific questions. This was just like a general overall FAQ type situation. So I hope this was helpful or fun or interesting to anyone. Thank you so much for watching.